Hey everyone, thank you for coming to our team call tonight. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2015, and I am going to start off with a couple of exciting announcements. So first off, this weekend is your Super Saturdays. Make sure you get to one. Amanda is hosting one in Spokane on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And then the Portland crowd is hosting one actually on Sunday, so we're having Super Sunday this time at 2 p.m. on Sunday. If you don't live in Spokane or Portland, that's totally fine. They are everywhere. Get to one. If you don't know where to find one, then ask your upline coach and we will help you find one. They are super important, especially coming out of just after a Success Club trip. There will be tons of good information. And so definitely get there, no excuses. And then the other thing is there's a lot going on this month. I'm trying to get a lot of things in for you guys because I want to help you all rank advance by Summit. Summit is awesome. I want to get those rank advancements in by May 20th, I believe is the date, so that you can walk across the stage and go to Summit with your shiny new rank. So the first thing I'm doing is a 5-day push to Emerald. It is a new structure of a group. It's one that another coach shared with me, so it'll be a first run through of that one. Starts tomorrow. I already opened up the group today when I was en route on the plane, so it's open. And so if you have anyone that should be in there or you yourself want to be in there, make sure to join. That'll just be 5 days. Wednesday starts the coach preview. So if you know anybody that you want to invite to be a coach, that is a perfect opportunity. I'll be posting some invite examples in Team 360 tonight for you to share. And I'll get that group open either tonight or tomorrow. And then the Dash to Diamond, I just posted the information in the group page about that. I'm teaming up with the coaches again to do a Dash to Diamond. There's actually a few new people, and we have a lot of surprise guest speakers that are flipping amazing that I cannot wait. I even landed a really good one that I can't release her name yet, but she's going to be one of the featured speakers at Summit, and you will not want to miss her. So if you are striving for Diamond, that is a place for you to be. The registration ends on Sunday. Next Sunday, you're going to have to be registered by then. There's no late exceptions because they are capping the group this time. And they're going to put a limit on how many people can join so that it doesn't get too big. The other cool thing is that what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put everybody in a separate group. So if you have questions while you're in that group, you can post them in there, and I can also help hold you accountable, as well as your upline diamond will do that for you as well. So lots of different things: push to Emerald, coach preview, and dash to diamond. Make sure you take advantage of those groups because those are only going to help build your business. So, and with that, I am going to introduce Amanda, but I don't see her right now. There she is. She is going to be talking about the Elite 10 panel, the top 10 panel that she went to while she was in her first Success Club trip, which we just got back from in Cancun. So she's going to share what she learned, and she had some aha moments. So you better want to listen up, get your pens and paper, a lot of information. She showed me all the notes that she took, and she got some good steps. So you're in for tonight.
Unmute myself. Hi, guys. I'm really excited to share this with you. This really good timing, like I was saying before, because I planned on sharing it anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip on my screen real quick. And let's see if I can make this work. Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. Awesome. Trying not to be distracted by my children outside on Olivia's brand new Power Wheels that, believe it or not, one of my challengers in my challenge group brought over today for her. So she's outside with my husband, and I'm just praying that they survive. All right. So I'm just going to get this started. I hope that you can see it. And I'm going to minimize this. All right. So I went to a panel called the Elite Top 10. And what they did was they kind of went through and they asked each of them like their number one must do for this business. And then there are number one, like, I wish I never would have, or I wish I wouldn't have waited to, or I wish I had never done this. So this like really was captivating to me. And I really found that I was doing a lot of these things, but some of the not doing things I have struggled with or whatever. So I want to share them all with you. So I'm just going to roll down in order. And I just threw this together. Remember, I've been home like 10 hours. And so no judging. So let's get started. Number one, Melanie Mitro. Her must do was read The Slight Edge. She said that that was the biggest game changer in her book, in her career, that book. And I am so excited that I am working through this book with my team right now on our team page. So I was really stoked to hear this because I'm halfway through it. It was something I intended to listen to or read this whole last year and have never done. And I started it at the beginning of April. So I'm really excited about that. So read The Slight Edge because it's such a game changer. Her don't was, don't get distracted by shiny objects. And by shiny objects, she means like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, a blog, all these things. We're like, oh, we have to do that. Or to be a successful coach, I have to do this. I have to have a blog. Melanie Mitro has a blog. Or I have to have a huge Facebook following because Melissa McAllister has a Facebook following. I have to be Lindsay Matway and have this massive bombshell dynasty. You don't. She says pick one and master it. So for her, it's her blog. But for many others, it's other social media. She says pick the one that you're the best at and just become great at it. And I found that really enlightening. She also said she couldn't just say one must not. Her other must not was you must not miss events. And by events, she means Summit and Super Saturday. She said that she missed a Super Saturday when she first started, and then she had this goal to get to leadership and she just missed it. You have to be 2-star diamond to get to leadership at the end of the year, and she just missed it by like a week. And she said she will never stop kicking herself for that because she learned so much at that event that her business totally shifted. So don't miss events. All right, that was Melanie's. Number 2 was Lindsay Matway. And she was last year's number 1 coach. So if you've been in the business a while, you probably heard of her. Her number 1 must do was never stop working on yourself. She said, my business grows based on how I am growing on the inside and what PD I'm doing. And this was really an aha moment for me. This was a huge one because she talked about this same slight edge concept. And she said, and this really spoke to me because she said, oftentimes when we think of what we're going to do for personal development and working on ourselves, we think of what we're the weakest at. And we go, okay, I suck at this. I really need to get better at this. And I'm great at a couple things. And so I'll just keep going with those. Well, she said to look at it differently. She said, think about where you are a 6. You know, where you're a 6 at, that you can be an 8 and work on that. Maybe you're an 8 at something and make yourself a 9 or even a 10 instead of thinking of where you're a 2 at and trying to make yourself a 5. Why would you keep working on these things that you're not that great at and becoming mediocre at them or a little above average at them when you could take something you're already really good at and become excellent at? And that really just blew me away because I find myself constantly focusing on my really weaker, like my non strengths and really trying to improve those. And so I'm really excited for the shift in focus of focusing on my strengths and making them stronger. So never stop working on yourself and work on that PD. Her don't was don't waste time on time suckers. And by that, she means that you can't help someone who won't help themselves. And she talked about something I've also struggled with when you want it for a coach more than they want it for themselves and you see such great potential in them. I know a lot of us have heard this before, but I think it's really important to notice this from one of the top coaches several years running. She says, invest your time in people who will work it and work with them. don't invest it and let them suck the life out of you, the people who kind of want it but don't want to do the work, because you're just draining yourself. So don't waste time on time suckers. So that was awesome for me. Moving on, number 3 was Lori Stewart. One of the things I love about this in general is that I had never heard of Lori Stewart. And that just goes to show you, she's the top 3 coach in the entire company. And I don't know who she is. So that means that could be me next year, that 100,000 people don't know who I am, right? Anyway, what she said was, do refill yourself. And by that, she's also talking about personal development. Now, I know this is going to be a little repetitive, but I think that's all the more reason to notice that these are common themes. So do your personal development. It must be an everyday thing. Hi, handsome boy. He just woke up. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm on this call. Go with Dada. Thank you. Go with Daddy. You might need some real milk, honey. Okay. Sorry, guys. My son just came in. Okay, so personal development must be an everyday thing. You must refill yourself. I'm going to go ahead and move rooms. I'm sorry, you guys. Sorry. I'm changing rooms. So she says, you must refill yourself after pouring yourself out. So what she means is every day we're giving and giving and giving of ourselves to our challengers and to our coaches and to our families and to our other job if we have one. And we're constantly pouring ourselves out. And we need to replenish ourselves by taking care of ourselves. So personal development, that is what does that. And that must be an everyday thing. So do refill yourself. And her don't, I really loved. She says, don't hide in the coaching closet. What she said was, I wish I would have come out of the coaching closet sooner. She said, I posted about my workouts, but I never really put it out there that I was a coach soon enough. And so people knew she was doing her workouts and were following her, but they didn't realize that she was actually, a coach. And so I think that's really important, because I find this with a lot of my coaches too. Everyone's afraid to say they're a coach. I know it's scary to put it out there, because then you might, people will focus on whether you did it well or not. And you might feel like there's that fear of failure. But like I tell my coaches, if you replace the word failure with the word stumble, it sounds awfully ridiculous. I mean, if you say, I'm afraid I'm going to fail at something, what if I fail at this? That sounds huge and intimidating. But if you say, what if I stumble when I'm walking? That sounds ridiculous. Then you stumble and you get back up and you keep walking. What are you going to just lie there and die? So anyway, I just love this, because I think that that's the root of why people don't do that. So don't hide in the coaching closet. Okay, and yes, I can count. This also says number 3, but it's because they are tied for 3. Amy Silverman. She said, do put yourself first. She says, you are your business, so you need to live out loud. You need to be all in. Everyone should know what you're doing. It's your career. Act like it. And then with your PD, she also said, apply it. Don't just read it or listen to it, but actually apply it. I really like that she said, this is your career. She talked about how if you are a doctor, everyone knows you're a doctor. All your friends know you're a doctor. You go to work, you say, oh, I'm going to work tonight at the hospital. Everyone in your entire life that you touch in any way, shape, or form, that you even remotely have a relationship, knows you're a doctor. So start thinking about, this is my takeaway, I started thinking about everybody I know that I talk to, the parents at my friend's school, at my kids' school, the parents at dance classes, the neighbors in my neighborhood. Do they all know I'm a coach? Because if they don't, why not? Maybe you're in that coaching closet, right? So she says, live your life out loud. If you were a doctor, you'd be telling everyone you're a doctor. So be proud of being a coach and tell everyone. Her don't was, don't forget to talk about the business. She said, you can change your life with a business too. It's a lifestyle opportunity. So don't forget to talk about the business. Don't just talk about the coaching, but make sure you sprinkle that in too. Number 5, Melissa McAllister. And if you listen to Shalene, her podcast, they talk about her all the time. If you follow her on Instagram, it's Melissa Made. And she is a Beachbody coach. Even though she has all these amazing other businesses and is featured on Shalene's show all the time, she's a Beachbody coach and she's number 5 in the company. And she's making some serious money, you guys. And she says, do talk to people. It's a numbers game. So by that, she said, if you talk to 1,000 people, maybe 100 of them will become customers, right? Out of the 1,000 people. And of those 100 customers, maybe 10 of them will become coaches. And of those 10 coaches, maybe 1 of them will become diamond. So don't be afraid to talk to someone about the business. They'll respect you for it, for offering it to them, for talking about it knowledgeably, even if they aren't interested. Because if you don't put it out there, no matter what you think, it is a numbers game. And if you have to talk to 1,000 people to get the 100 customers, to get the 10 coaches, to get the 1 diamond, you aren't going to get there without talking to those 1,000 unless you are very, very lucky. Her don't was don't forget to recognize your team. She said that she wasn't so great at this early on and she wished she was better. I think it's a good reminder for me also. You always need to recognize your coaches and give them love. She said, it's kind of like filling them up. And, you need to recognize them for the things they do great. And each of them has different strengths. And even if they're not a Success Club All-Star or anything like that, they are still a great coach for some reason or a great person. And don't forget to recognize them. And it may be not even a coach on your team. Like I had to shout out Erica and Tammy today because I just am so awed by them and I think they're great. So don't forget to recognize people. That's your responsibility as a leader of your team. Number 6 was Anita Myron. Anita Myron just did a wake-up call a few weeks back. If you listen to those, you probably have heard her name. And she said, do be yourself and share your story. So the notes I took say, be yourself and remember that you are a coach for someone else. So don't look at us and say, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. And by that, I'm meaning she was pointing at the other people on the stage and she was like, oh, I'm not Lindsay, I'm not perfect and beautiful and blonde, or I'm not Brittany with this huge business, or I'm not Melissa with this giant Instagram following. She says, don't look at us and think like that. I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. Don't let your fear of being vulnerable hold you back because you are a life changer. And I underlined that because I love that because I've just been really reveling lately in some of the changes some of my challengers and coaches on my team have had. And I'm just so proud to be a part of that. So she says, share your story, be yourself and own it. You are a life changer. So I liked that. She said, don't not do PD until year 2. Like she did. She said she spent the first year being so busy being someone else that she was trying to be like this coach and this coach and this coach, like she was just saying not to do in the beginning. And she didn't focus on personal development because she was so busy doing all this other busy work. And for 15 minutes a day, that's how you become a better person and a stronger leader. So you absolutely have to do that and you can't skip it. All right. Number 7, Carly Del Carlo. And I hear her name announced all the time. I swear to God, I feel like she's rank advanced every week. And she's also done a couple wake-up calls, if I recall correctly, or at least one that I've maybe listened to a couple times. Carly Del Carlo said, do talk about the business opportunity and recruiting. Another common theme. She said she wished she had done it sooner. That when she finally started talking about the business opportunity and recruiting, it developed her leadership and it changed her whole business. So she said to really focus on how and why your life has changed, whether that's in a small way because you're a new coach or a big way. Maybe it's small because you are having a mind shift for personal development. It's the same thing as talking about how your fitness and the workouts and Shakeology has changed your health, which I talk about a lot. Why don't I talk more about to business and how it's changed my life. And I know Tanya and I have had conversations about how I struggle with that. It's hard for me it feels not humble, but at the same time, you need to find a way to do it in a way that you're comfortable with, because if you don't, people don't know that the opportunity's there. So there's that. She wish she had talked about the business opportunity and recruiting more. And then don't forget the blinders. She said, you need to wear blinders and be yourself. This is me, take it or leave it, I wrote down. So that's kind of my version of what she said. Put your blinders on and just march forward and block out all others. You don't need to listen to them. You don't need to watch them. You don't need to listen to haters. You don't need to watch other coaches to see what they're doing. You just need to be you. And if you do that and you wear those blinders, you're going to be way more successful. Number 7, also tied for 7, and not stuttering again, was Brittany Leggett. And I can't think of her. Showalter, I believe is her married name. Anyway, Brittany Leggett, because when I started watching her videos last year, she wasn't married yet. And she says, do create team culture unique within your team. She said that in the beginning of her business, she is part of the Bombshell dynasty, and she was blown away by that team culture and focused so much on trying to replicate Lindsay Matway's culture and that team culture. And really what she needed to do was develop her own. And when she started focusing on that and making her team unique to her and what she wanted, she found that she needed to be unique in her little team. And she needed to really be specific about what she had to offer on her team and focus on that. She said there's a great power in knowing that one coach believes in you. Just like for your challengers, there's a great power in knowing that you believe in them. It's kind of reversed. One coach believes in you. So you need to give back to them and create the culture that you want on your team. Her don't was, well, this is how I wrote it. Don't be Michael Phelps without a clock. So she's talking about tracking your business. And what I wrote down was looking at, I'm trying to read my own handwriting, sorry. Looking at your business and what you need to grow. Okay, so she said you need to find a way to track what you're doing, whether that's focusing more on more invites or whether that's focusing on running more challenge groups or whatever it is you're doing. You need to track it because you can't see what's working and what's not if you're not tracking it. So that's like Michael Phelps. What's Michael Phelps in the pool without a clock? Nothing. He's a guy swimming. He's nothing. So without that clock, you don't know if he won, set a new record, lost, did great, or he's just swimming like every other guy in the pool. So don't be Michael Phelps without a clock, okay? It's the best way I can tell you that one. Number 8, Micah Folsom also just did a call. Also, she was a guest speaker in the Diamond Dash I just recently was in that Tanya mentioned before the call, which I should point out, I won over $400 in that Diamond Dash. So it's worth it, guys. $25 I put in, and I won actually over $450. So don't skip it. And even if I hadn't have won any money, I'm telling you, I earned every penny of that back in what it made me focus and work on in the first week. So anyway, Micah Folsom, she said, do be consistent. Be consistent, build your business while your kids play. This is what she said. She builds her business while her kids play consistently. And she said, everyone talks about big chunks of time and this and that, but she said, to be honest, she does it just like I do, which made me feel a lot better. She said there's nothing wrong with working your business while you're sitting there with your kids enjoying something, or while they're playing blocks and you're sitting on the floor with them. You can still be engaged, but work your business a little bit here and a little bit there, and then do maybe a more serious chunk if someone's napping or you happen to have some time. But do be consistent and build your business however you do it every single day. And I just spoke on Sarah's team call last week on the Powered by Awesome call and said the same thing. She asked me what I thought the biggest key to success in my business was, and I said being consistent. I show up every day when it's hard, when it sucks, when I have no success goal points, when I'm leaving for a trip in a day, when I'm on vacation in Cancun. It doesn't matter. I'm showing up. So do be consistent. She said don't skip the 3 vital behaviors. And basically she said inviting, is creating authentic relationships. Being proof the product works is becoming healthier. And personal development is living and growing to be a better person. So instead of thinking it like invite, be proof the product works, and personal development, those are 3 vital behaviors, try thinking of it like this. Create authentic relationships, become healthier, and live and grow to be a better person. If you hear those 3 things, why would you skip them? I mean, it just sounds silly. They're wonderful things. So if you think of them that way, instead of letting those tag words like invite scare you, that's what I kind of took notes on and said, I think that that's what people let scare them. So why think of it that way? Why not think about creating authentic relationships instead of inviting? That's not so bad. All right. And the last one, number 9, Alyssa Shoemaker. She said, well, she kind of was pretty short. She said, everyone had said everything that she wanted to say, but she said, keep it simple. She said the key to her success was keeping it simple and doing the 3 vital behaviors every day. And she made a big point to say that every single person on that stage had done the same vital behaviors every day of their business and that they were still doing them now. She said the difference between us in the audience and them on the stage in their daily activities was that they are leading bigger teams and they have team training type things and all of that. But as far as their own personal business, there was no difference. They still do those 3 vital behaviors. And she said the same thing, except for don't. Don't think you don't have to do the power of 3s. She said for her, the power of 3s was her favorite way to track it because it kept it simple, which is what her do was. So she said, use that power of 3, keep it simple, and your business will grow, especially if you do it every day. Okay. And that is it. That's all I have. And hopefully, I'll turn that off. Hopefully that was helpful for everyone. Hopefully I laid it out okay. I know I'm reading my own chicken scratch, but I really like to takeaways. So I will turn it back over to you, Tanya. And I don't know, maybe people have questions or whatever, but I will mute myself.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I thought it was great. I think it's interesting if you look at all the common themes that they talk about here. It's the same stuff, you guys. And everybody talked about the 3 vital behaviors: being yourself, don't compare. And everybody said personal development, work on yourself. And I think a lot of times PD gets stuck at the bottom of the list. And in fact, it should be at the top of the list. I know many of the top coaches, they actually do PD first thing in the morning, and that's how they start their day. And I myself, most mornings, do personal development first off because it does set the tone of the day. And it isn't something, that should get stuck at the bottom. And everybody talked about being consistent, and it was awesome. And honestly, this is what you're going to hear from all the top 10 coaches. This is what I've heard ever since I started as a coach. It's exact same thing. I can pull out my notes from my very first trip in listening to the Elite 10 panel. It's the same. I'm going to actually pull it out because I have it. And it's the same thing, all the same stuff, you guys. And so if you follow this and use this as your guide, you will be successful. And I do think we should open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions for Amanda, or if you have any questions about any of the groups coming up. So Amanda, I think you have control of the mute button. So however you want to do that. All right, everybody's unmuted. So if you don't want to talk, remute yourself. But if you have a question, please ask it. Anybody?
Nobody?
Yeah, actually, I just need to know who wrote The Slight Edge. Do you know?
Jeff Olson.
Thank you.
And My husband is a business coach, and that is the book that he's recommended to clients for several years. Like, that's the number one book he starts with for everyone. He's like, don't talk to me until you've read The Slight Edge. You have to read The Slight Edge. So that is his absolute favorite book. It's industries, like, everyone's that book. Anybody else?
Jinx.
Amanda, awesome job. This was great. And thank you for the PowerPoint. That was perfect. And I really appreciate that. I took a bunch of notes too. And I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. It's awesome. Don't forget, we have all those new groups starting up. They're all posted in the team page. And make sure if you are ready to join one of them, you get in it. If you have a coach that needs to be in there, let your teams know. I know a lot of your own team pages, so if you want to take part in that, please feel free to invite your teams if you wish. But everyone have a wonderful evening, and thanks again.
Tanya.
Yes.
I had a quick question. How do you get into the Dash to Diamond? I heard
you
Amanda
have to
say
follow
about the 25.
I just posted about that tonight. So if you go in there, there's a link. It says galadayfit.com/diamond dash, and it's right within the post, and you're going to have to click that, and then you'll fill out an application to get in there. And
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and then just let me know when you're done, and I'll put you on because they're going to ask, they have us each approve who we let in, so I'll approve you.
Okay, thank you.
I really think it's a don't miss. I was totally overwhelmed. There was a ton of information I couldn't really keep up with, and still doing the best I could. Every night I would listen to the call or the post from that day while I drove home. And even if it was a video and I couldn't watch, I'd still listen with my phone on speaker. And I really couldn't keep up with how busy I was at the time. And then on the weekend, I'd try and kind of catch up what I could. And I still took so much from it. And I won one of the weekly prizes and then was one of the final winners. And I'm really hoping every single Emerald on my team or anyone I can get to Emerald will do it, because I just think it was really, really excellent information.
I absolutely agree. It's awesome, because what they did is they took all of us coaches and they had us do what our specialties are, because which coach had talked about, don't try to be better at what you're a 2 at. Okay. Well, for anybody that doesn't know technology, back office, I'm a 2. I delegate that out. So I would, but leadership, I'm up there, and other things I'm up there. And so that's what I spoke on during my week. And everybody, is talking about what they're strongest in. And these are all coaches that all of us are elite. Everyone is making over 6 figures that's talking. So we know what we're talking about. And so it's valid. It's like getting an MBA. It really is. So it is fast paced, but just do what you can do within it. And if you just take 5 minutes and check in there each day and, put it on your list. I'm going to be hosting also an accountability group to answer any questions. So if you're you see the post in there and you have a question about it, you can post it in our group, and that will also help hold you accountable if you so wish. So that's in addition to it, which we didn't do last time, and I probably should have done, so that was my bad. But that last time was my first time being part of it. And so a little bit better prepared this time. So, and I'll be actually hosting my piece from Europe. So that's kind of exciting. So make sure you're consistent in this business, you guys. I can't say that enough. When I was on my first Success Club trip, we could barely afford to go. I won the trip outright, but I still had to pay for airfare, and it was a really big struggle. But it changed my life. That was where I listened to the top 10 coaches speak, which is what Amanda just talked about. And I had an aha moment, I could really do this. And my husband was with me, and he said the same thing. He's like, wow, it could actually be a business, because before he just thought it was the cute little hobby that I was doing. And then I went to Summit, had another aha moment. Don't miss Summit. It's coming up in July. It's going to be amazing. I went to all the Super Saturdays, and then the next year we went on the cruise. We were able to take our children. This year when we went to Cancun, it was really cool. I was telling Amanda, we actually could afford to do an excursion. We did a really scary excursion, but we could afford to, and that I'm able to do on the other Success Club trip. But Beachbody covered everything else there. They covered all of our food expenses, and I won the travel money. And that could be you next year. You could be in that position on the cruise next year. What?
They covered all the desserts.
Yeah, and I have a guacamole belly. I will spare you the details. And Amanda has a baby named, she's got a margarita guacamole baby too.
Margarita baby. His name is Pablo.
It's not pretty. I'm hitting the refresh tomorrow. Life is.
I'm refreshing right now.
It was all-inclusive, and the cruise will be all-inclusive too. So it's definitely, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. But I was thinking on that, like how cool it was not only to be able to go on these trips, but also that Beachbody covers all of my family's bills. And we have a savings. We are able to pay off debt. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. That took time. But if you're consistent and you do the vital behaviors, it can change your life. And I just think that it's so important. If that's your goal and that's your why, then go for it. Don't let anything hold you back, or, anyone. You've got to give yourself this opportunity if you want to make something different. I was sitting by a girl on the airplane on my way home, and she was crying because her mom had died, and she had, retired, and she died. So don't wait until you retire to live out your life, okay? And don't do that. Like, live your life now. And this is an opportunity for you to live that life instead of waiting until someday you can, you're going to work hard. It's not a get rich quick scheme or anything like that. You do work hard, but it is worth all of the effort that you put into it. So,
Daryl couldn't go because he doesn't have vacation with his job, and he was too busy, and we couldn't afford to miss the money. And, I had some vacation days from my work that I used, but I'm telling you that it was pretty cool when I was like, well, I don't think I can do the dolphin thing because we can't afford it. And I realized it was Thursday, and I get paid from Beachbody on Thursday. And I had another $600 in my checking account, and I had been on a beach all week. So, it's a pretty cool moment to have on a Thursday when you're on vacation and you think you're out of spending money, and then you have some, and you're not even at work. So, but you aren't. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not as much as you make, I know, but it's huge for me and for my family. So, especially for the time I was there,
Yep. Get paid to sit on a beach this week, which is pretty dang cool. So, everybody, you all have the same opportunity. You just got to put yourself out there and go for it, and do, exactly what Amanda talked about on this call. Plug into the groups, get your booty to a Super Saturday or Super Sunday event this weekend. Don't miss. Bring a friend or two or three or four or five. And just get there. Let's do this. All right.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you again.
Good night. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.